Interesting to start off on. Devil's Advocates. Welcome back to Digibros. I was just, we were self-analyzing, because I was like, I felt so dumb on the last episode, because, like, I was trying to be devil's advocate with my feminism topic.
Pretty edgy.
And be a dick. But I'm just fucking horrible at that, and I can't argue with someone that I agree with. And I can't be the devil's advocate. Like, on the procrastinators, like, Mumkey Jones is great at it.
Yeah.
Nate's fantastic at it. Like, arguing a point, and Conrad, too. Like, arguing for the opposition, even though they don't believe in the opposition. And I'm like, I'm not great at it. I can't be devil's advocate, man. And that's what I was hoping to accomplish in the last episode. And, it broke me. But
it was too sincere.
That's a personality type that strikes with me. Where I appreciate people who can be insincere for memes, but I'm like too much of a sincere boy to like fuck around and joke around. Like I admire Mumkey Jones a lot for being able to be completely insincere and hilarious at 100% of his life. Like when he's memeing on podcasts and stuff, and I'm just like, I can't do it, man.
Yeah.
I'm just not funny enough. I don't know. I can't be insincere. To my own detriment sometimes. I'm almost like Jon Snow levels of painfully honest and like can't withhold the truth sometimes. No one's as bad as Jon Snow at like not knowing when to shut the fuck up and just like you don't even have to lie. You just mislead a little bit, you know? You don't have it's not lying if you just omit a detail, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's necessary. Like you gotta do it.
Yeah, Vic's not good at that at all.
Yeah.
I'm not great at it. I can do it if I have to.
Yeah.
If the situation really calls for it, like I'll do it.
I've gotten better at it as, you know, with being an adult. As a kid, I couldn't do it at all.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even like I'd either tell the truth or just stay silent, you know? Like I couldn't bend the truth. I've gotten decent at bending the truth. Or omitting certain things, you know, to your own benefit. Yeah,
it's more the omission of certain things
yeah.
As an adult that becomes important. Because, I mean, to an extent, you have to on occasion.
Like, you gotta be honest, but you gotta do yourself a favor sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes you're gonna make your life way fucking harder than it needs to be. So,
yeah.
You just gotta embellish.
Fucking lie, motherfuckers.
That being said, do as, you know, do as we say, not as we do. Yeah. Lying's bad, kids.
It's okay. You know, I know Hope white lies sometimes. Sometimes she's all like, I love you. And I'm like, yeah.
That's not
you're
a white
embellishing
lie.
a little bit. You're giving me a little leeway there, but
yeah, I mean,
but it doesn't hurt anyone. You know, I feel good at the end of the day.
Yeah, it makes me
happy. I know
happy.
you're at least trying, so I appreciate the effort. You know, clearly, if you didn't care, you wouldn't try at all.
Right. You're exactly correct.
All right, let's. I had another topic written down. Let's see if it's decent or not, or if I even remember what the fuck I was going on about when I wrote this fucking note. It's been a couple days.
It's been a while.
I can't even find the notes.
We're in space.
Memo! We're so close to the end of the game, we could probably beat it by the end of this sitting.
Space.
Oh, I guess this kind of piggybacks on what I was already talking about. If I wrote down vibes, gut feelings, and intuition. Because I think we're both people who generally go by our gut.
Yeah.
You know? You get a gut feeling, and I'm definitely someone who trusts my gut, and like whenever I have a bad gut feeling, it always turns out to be true, you know?
Yeah.
Like it always, if I get myself into a situation and I have a bad gut feeling and I do it anyways, I always regret it. I tend to be very intuitive, and trust my gut. How do you feel about intuitive? You're a woman. Women are supposed to be intuitive, right? They're supposed to have more intuition than men.
Yeah. I'm pretty much the same way. If I get a bad feeling about a person or a situation, I'll typically do my best to get the fuck out of there or avoid it. Yeah. And similarly, if I get a good feeling about something, I'll try to follow through with it. And normally it works out okay. Especially if I've been agonizing over a decision for a while, and something happens and I suddenly get a gut feeling one way or another, normally that's worth listening to.
Gut feelings, man. But then, like, when I met Mayor Ben, I had a pretty good gut feeling. I was like, this is something. Maybe the gut feeling was like, oh, I'm gonna get a good story out of this. But then, like, that feeling soured fairly quickly.
Yeah,
And now, like, he messaged me the other day and I didn't reply. And I think that's done. I think Mayor Ben's story has come to a close. This is cool as shit.
As soon as you started telling me all of those things about Mayor Ben, I was like, oh, this guy is, there's some shit going on here. It may not be intentionally malicious shit, but it's some shit.
I guess because it wasn't intentionally malicious, I still thought there was an angle, you know? Like, I had a good feeling about a documentary about his mental health, but then, like, it just became too much. Like, it clearly became clear it wasn't going to go anywhere. Anyways, I don't know if I had a greater point to make about gut feelings, but I wrote it down as a topic.
You sure did, buddy. So yeah, if you have shitty intuition though, don't listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the autisms out there. I don't know if we have any autisms who listen to this show. Maybe they all got so offended they ran away.
You've been categorized.
But I don't know how that fares for, like, they say a thing with autistic people is that they can't read people, and they don't seem to be very intuitive in that regard. Do they still have the same sort of gut feelings and gut intuitions, or is that something that's lost on, like, a person with Asperger's? Curious if there's anyone out there with Asperger's. Let me know. I'm, like, very, very sincerely curious about this, about if those kind of intuitions translate into that, because from what it seems with, you know, people's analysis of what autism and Asperger's is, that they wouldn't have a lot of gut intuition, I would imagine. I don't know.
You wouldn't think so, but I don't know.
Food for thought. I don't know if that feels racist against
racist
our Spectrum listeners. If so, I'm sorry for being ignorant. That's that. What else is going on?
What else is going on?
What's going on with you? How's school?
How's school?
You meet any cute boys yet? Any cute baristas?
So many cute boys in my program for, you know, healthcare, where there's so many men that want to be in healthcare. I at least now feel like I more or less have gotten my shit together, and I have a plan. So now it feels a lot better than it did when I first
Solid plan.
first
Very
started.
plan driven.
I gotta have a plan. Oh God.
Hope is a plan girl.
Yeah.
Hope plans life. I guess, you know, by nature of my childhood, I'm not used to ever having a plan because my parents have never had a fucking plan, and because I moved constantly and there was no stability. So maybe I'm just used to going with the flow really well, and not really having a plan at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's that could work. That could because I had a topic kind of like that. Yeah, my topic in that vein was the fact that we had two very different upbringings, two very different kinds of parents, two very different social surroundings, but it created two very similar people. Extremely
similar. Progressively more similar.
And how unusual that is.
It is special.
Because,
ooh. I guess that's the
and
boss.
You died.
Okay.
And, yeah, I just think that's really interesting, because, I lived in the same house my entire life. We never moved. My home life was always pretty stable. We weren't, like, rich or anything, but, like, my parents sent me to Christian school, and there was a lot of religion involved and things like that.
Yeah.
And through whatever turn of events, that ended up creating a person who hates organized religion and cannot tolerate it now, and thinks it's very superficial and fake.
We were woke to that as small children, because my mom was obviously always very anti-religion.
Your mom was never about that.
Super anti-Christian, super Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
You know, ironically Hail Satan.
Yeah,
it's not like my mom
not
actually worshipped the fucking devil.
Worshipping Satan.
But, you know, 666 everywhere, because it's fun.
Because it's funny, yeah, it's a meme.
She's a solid devil memer.
Yeah, your mom is definitely into the devil
The
memes.
occult, yes.
The
into the
Satanism
witchcraft,
memes.
tarot, Satanism shit. She was a long-time goth. Which isn't, because I feel like our moms aren't that different personality-wise. At the core of their personalities, they seem like they like to party and like drink and have fun.
Yeah.
And are kind of fun people. But then your mom is the conservative version of that.
Yeah.
Which is, it trips me out so much thinking of your mom now in the way she is. And then like, it's weird to me that she's conservative. Because like, what she enjoys is like, you know, having a drink and goofing around and like cursing and like being kind of edgy. Yes. Like she's kind of edgy.
She does like to be edgy.
It's so weird to me that she would be super religious and conservative. And her views are definitely pretty conservative
anymore, but she is very conservative.
And I'm just, it's weird, you know? I guess it's just a different kind of rebel, you know?
And that's the other thing is, my house was always very conservative, very voted Republican every fucking election.
Yeah.
Very, very conservative values, things along those lines. Both my parents, staunchly conservative.
I understand to an extent with that because, like, I think Connor and May were also talking about this, just steal all their topics.
Oh, to be fair, I haven't had time to watch any
you
of
haven't
their
watched any
stuff.
of it, but I wanted to bring up something that Connor was observing, which is that, because I guess May's also grew up conservative, but with liberals, like, in the way we were raised, it's very empathetic and, like, you want to help people who can't help themselves. And, like, that's the whole idea behind it, is, like, you have to help people who are in bad situations and can't help themselves. Which now I don't necessarily agree with, because I feel like I'm an adult and I'm woke, and I don't always believe that people, like...
People don't always necessarily
sometimes people are poor for a
help.
reason, you know, and they put themselves there. Whereas, like, I believe you should help poor kids, you know? Kids who are in sticky situations and kids who didn't grow up with much deserve to be helped a lot. That's what we should be putting our money into, is helping kids get a second chance, you know?
Yeah.
Like if their parents grew up shitty. But I wouldn't necessarily agree that you need to help people who kind of dug themselves that hole, you know?
See, and that's...
But then it's still an aspect of, like, society kind of fucks people in that way by not informing them about, educating people about credit cards and all that shit. And then there's the conservative... like, the conservative conceit is kind of that you dig your own holes and, like, you bring this upon yourself. But then, like, there really is a lack of education to an extent about credit cards and stuff like that. And, like, loan sharks and people taking advantage of you. Because people do take advantage of poor people and get them in the worst situations just because people aren't educated enough on it, you know? No one helps you in life. Like, if you don't have parents who teach you these things, who the fuck is teaching you to avoid bad situations, you know? Like, maybe some people do deserve second chances. I don't know, I'm super divided on all of it. But, like, the way I was raised was definitely, like, super bleeding heart liberal, because that's what my mom is, you know?
And see, that's really funny, because I've kind of been the opposite in that growing up in a conservative household, when I was a kid, I was always taught, like, you dug your own grave, you know, if you're in some shit, it's your own fault, you shouldn't ask for money from the government, you shouldn't take any government assistance, like, you got yourself into this, you need to get yourself out of it. So, like, when I was younger, I was always like, well, it's their own fault, so why should we be helping them? But then when I got older, that kind of became mitigated, because you see there are circumstances that you aren't told about when you're a kid, where, like, someone grows up in an impoverished area and they don't have access to education, or they don't have access to the things that let them get the jobs that they need in order to, you know, get money. So you're born poor and you're already stuck in this poor hole.
And people fucking, you know, they end up pregnant at a young age and they have to sustain a family, and now they have to work 2 fucking jobs at Walmart and McDonald's, and, like, they're fucked, and, like, I don't know.
So yeah, that kind of got mitigated, like, as I got older and learned people more about people who weren't in my situation. Because I feel like when you're conservative and you're looking at it from that angle, you're coming from a place where, like, you already have money, you're good, you're all right. So, like, why isn't everyone else okay? And it's like, that's not how life works.
Exactly. And then, like, I know people like your parents probably don't consider themselves to have started with much, you know?
Right.
Like, they consider themselves to have made themselves from, like, probably a bad situation and not... Like, because they aren't rich. You know, even now they're not wealthy, you know? They're well off, but they aren't
they're
wealthy.
not poor, but they're not, like,
so
you
to
know,
them, like...
upper class.
It's like, well, we made it and we never had much money.
Right.
Why should we help someone else? And it's like, well, you don't realize that there is so much worse than how you had it, you know? Like, there are people who have fucked situations, you know? There are kids growing up who, you know, the welfare moms.
Right.
You grew up in a family of 7 and your parents were dirt poor, your dad walked out on you, and it's like, what opportunity is there for you, you know?
Yeah. And,
I'm not super educated on anything anymore, but...
Well, I think a part of it is also, as I've gotten older, I've very quickly realized, like, how easy I've had it.
Yeah.
It's like, I haven't ever had to, let's not even exaggerate, I haven't had to struggle for anything. Like, we're not rich, we're not loaded, we're like, lower middle class. But, like, it hasn't ever been a struggle. I haven't ever had to, like, you know, wonder about if I was going to eat or, like, how I was going to get through school or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it could have been a lot worse, you know? So you gotta take that and appreciate, you know, that you didn't really have to struggle and then realize that other people really do. And so you kind of have to look at your situation and look at their situation and say, like, yeah, maybe some people really do need help. Even if I didn't need it, maybe
it's like
they
white
do.
people bitching about the college stuff. And it's like, okay, well, more minorities are getting scholarships, but you gotta understand
right, like,
that a lot of
dude.
those are for people coming from fucked situations, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yes, there are, like, kids going into college who are black who came from a family with, you know, not every black family is poor, but those scholarships are for the kids who are poor, you know?
Right.
I don't know. It's a bitch.
But, yeah. Ironically...
Anyway, we ended up the same.
Ironically,
that was the greater point.
Created someone who isn't a big fan of religion and is at least moderately, you know, concerned about helping other people and not just the conservative aspect of things where everybody is in it for themselves, and that's kind of it.
I say me and you are definitely an argument for nature versus nurture.
Isn't it? Yeah,
like,
it's very interesting, I think.
But then I think we also, you know, we both had very loving parents.
Yeah.
You know, we both still love our parents a lot.
Yeah, we're both still
like,
really close to our parents.
Obviously, we were raised differently, but we were raised well.
Yeah, we were raised by people who gave a shit.
Yeah.
And like,
our parents
tried.
had similar, like, relationship and life struggles along the way.
Yeah.
It's like, we're coming from similar places. We just grew up in different schooling environments.
The core
and,
moral values were just different in a sense. Yeah. Not that either of them was bad. They were just, like, opposite ends of the spectrum.
I'd say that, in the end, the moral values are exactly the same. Because, like, we were still taught the same values that Christians are taught in terms of morality.
That's
just
true.
Not the means by which
you just weren't taught organized religion as being the way to get that.
Well, there's two different kinds of guilt. Because I'd say both of us in the end are guilt-motivated people. Like, throughout our childhood, right?
Yeah.
Like, generally, you acted the way you act because you feel guilty and you don't want to be a bad kid. But for me, it's just, like, for Christians, you're taught to feel guilty because of God, you know? You're supposed to act this way for God, and, like, if you don't, you should feel guilty about it. Whereas for me, it was just like, I felt guilty if I let my parents down, you know?
Yeah.
I wasn't letting Jesus down. It's just letting my parents down. Which I think you, the same way, you probably felt like you were letting your parents down and didn't really care about what Jesus thought.
Yeah, exactly. It's not so much that I gave a shit about letting Jesus down. And the problem with that is religion is really, at least in that case for me, it was very fear-based, which is completely not the right way to base religion. So the religion was fear-based, but the making the parents happy was guilt-based.
Yeah. Which is the same with my mom, because my mom will guilt-trip the living fuck out of people. And, like, that was my whole childhood, was just getting guilt-tripped about everything, you know? So it's like I felt guilty fucking all the time, and that's what made me a good kid. Because I just felt... I'd feel too guilty if I did anything wrong, you know? Which I guess, effective parenting, because I want to be a good kid.
Hashtag it works. Because your kids will be good kids and not fuck up too much.
Yeah.
So,
I'd say
yeah.
they did a good job in making us good kids who didn't fuck anything up. Didn't do a good job of making us not want to kill ourselves.
Yeah,
or
not
motivating us to do anything in life, like, as far as being proactive.
Not
and,
a great job of letting your child figure out who they are without, you know, massive amounts of guilt.
Yeah.
But all parents are gonna
Guilt,
fuck up.
didn't help.
Everything's gonna get fucked up in one way or another. So it's not the most catastrophic way to fuck up your child.
Yeah.
You know, it could be worse.
I didn't kill myself, so like they did all right.
Yeah.
Why didn't I kill myself? Because I felt too guilty to kill myself. Because I knew if I killed myself, it'd make my mom feel too bad. That is successful parenting.
Make your child
Your
feel
kids
so
wanna kill
guilty about
themselves,
killing themselves
but
they won't do
they feel
it.
too guilty.
It is the only way.
It's the only way to keep a suicidal kid in line.
Oh, whoops.
That's a true guilt complex.
That's very true.
Not that I wanted to kill myself because of my parents, you know. But I think setting a natural feeling of guilt in a person, you know, if I from an early age am like completely defined by guilt, then what the fuck, I don't want to do that.
Oops.
The guilt I learned while I was younger persisted into adulthood, and definitely, like, in high school controlled everything I did. It was certainly, you know, the guilt is what leads to the sadness.
The guilt is a hard thing to get rid of.
Yes.
Even now, sometimes you can catch yourself
Feeling ridiculously guilty.
about stupid things. About like not important things in your life, but like dumb things.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Guilt
but
is
you
always a
can't
dumb
help
thing.
it. You just feel it anyway.
I gotta get over there. I think I gotta get up there.
Gotta go.
I'm trying to figure out where the fuck I'm going.
Somewhere.
I wish I had more thoughts before on being a guilt-driven person.
Being a guilt boy.
But I think there's different core emotions that motivate people to act the way they act. And for me, it was definitely always guilt. Ugh. It's at the core of my being.
Yeah. I think there's guilt. There's some people who are very ego-driven, very like self-centered. I've met people like that.
Because even now, it's still guilt, you know? I feel guilty I'm not successful enough, therefore I must become more successful. I feel guilty I don't make enough money, I gotta make more money. Like, that's the first emotion, you know?
Yeah, that's the baseline.
Was it up there? I got up there before. Where do I go? Where's the last one? It's only one more Zapfish, and then we've, like, beat the game.
One more Zapfish.
What is that thing doing? It's just kind of going out there, and then there's, like, this thing, and that gets me up there, and that's how I got up to him. Or did I not get up to that?
Well, you're about to not get up to anything.
I had to figure something out. Because I hit it, and I created the loop over to there. Did I ever go up that loop? There's this guy. Oh, I can go up that one. Oh.
So, you just hit the guy?
So I hit him. I hit him.
Yeah?
I gotta just quickly jump through before they close at this part. Ah!
No.
Or not. Maybe I gotta use the umbrella. Because it has the delay. Fart. Okay.
Okay, there you go. Ah! Well, that was a phenomenal failure.
I guess I could just, like, shoot it with
yeah,
the
you could,
sniper rifle.
yeah, snipe it.
Oh, I didn't switch. Oh, well.
Oh!
Yeah,
well,
worked
that's
that time.
one way to get the job done.
Wow. Okay, now I can get over there if I haven't done this already and forgot.
I can't tell if.
Whoa! God damn
Well.
it. Fuck me right in the fuck. Fuck her right in the titties. Or let's fuck her in the pussy.
Yeah, I was like, that's not.
Fuck her right in the pussy!
That's not how the saying goes, but yeah.
You guys remember the fucker in the pussy guy? Fuck her right in the pussy? Oh man, well we've run out of that thing. we tried.
Yeah,
we did okay.
The guilt topic. Let's see.
I don't know. I always try to remember like childhood stories or something, and I can't remember. That shit.
How long do you think we have? Because I think I've got a topic.
We've got a whole boss and everything.
Okay, because we could always talk about the new Netflix original movie. Unless you don't feel like it.
I don't know. I'm getting kind of tired.
Okay.
We can. If you really want to, if you want to get started on it, you know.
I mean, I just thought it would be something fun to talk about.
Go for it.
Well, I mean, if you're not going to be able to full rage.
What's the point of that? It just hit me back around.
Oh, it was to
I can't
kill you.
What was the point?
But what?
Oh, was it one of the secret items and I already got it or something? What? Where's the last guy?
Shouldn't you be following the arrow?
Arrows? What?
Weren't there arrows earlier telling you where to go?
That only shows you to the next place or whatever.
Oh.
Like the next over stage. Man, there's no like map to look at to see where you've been. Or like speculate on where the next place is.
Excellent.
Maybe I gotta go down
Engaging
there.
dialogue.
I'm the best at dialogue. It's weird that there's no stage right here. It's strange. There wasn't one there.
Yeah,
so I
went down there, and then you're gonna die.
Around. I don't think there were any surrounding things. Maybe there's one down here and it's invisible. Maybe I gotta shoot around down there. No? No invisible platforms? Just a pointless, great... This area was very pointless over here. Fuck, man.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that one.
What's a good story of guilt from your childhood?
A story of
People
guilt.
like to hear childhood stories.
Stories about feeling guilty.
Yeah, what's the time where you felt immensely guilty?
Oh, well, I have a whole era about that.
Oh, no.
It's called playing sports when you're a kid.
Oh, no, yeah, talk about that. You played quite a bit of sports.
I was a sports girl when I was a kid. Now, to preface, it all started out because my best friend when I was a kid, one summer, her parents signed her up to play softball.
Ah.
And me, being her best friend, I was like, oh, I want to be on the same team. We were probably like fucking 10 or something. I don't know. We were really little. Probably younger than that.
Yeah.
And before then, I had never played any sports. I mean, I played soccer when I was like 4, but, no one scores any fucking goals when you're 4 and you're playing soccer.
Yeah.
So, whatever. It's not a big deal. I just figured we'll play softball this summer. We'll have fun. It'll be not a problem. So, of course, being a child, what I didn't know about my dad is that this then gave him something to relate to me with. Because my dad is a very, normal American-esque dad in that he's not very emotional. He's not good at, like, relating to other people. He doesn't really talk about, how he feels or anything like that.
I always, when we were younger, I always assumed he was, like, the kind of dad who wishes he had, like, a son or something. I don't feel that way anymore.
No, I don't think he wishes that I was a boy. I just think that that's just who my dad is. Like, that's literally just the way he is. He doesn't mean anything by it, but it's the way he is. And his daughter wanted to play sports, and he was proud of you. Yeah, and so he saw a way to connect with me through that. So, of course, my dad goes ham and, like, buys me a bat and a glove and, like, this new equipment that I'm, like, it's 9 or some shit. So I'm just like, whatever, it's cool. I'll have fun, whatever. Little did I know that this would develop into something that would engross my life for the next, like, 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
So...
Just because we bought you the bat, so you have to keep going. We spent all that money on that bat, and you're gonna stop?
Yeah, for years, for a couple of years, I kept playing softball with the girl who was my best friend at the time, and for a while it was fun, you know. And my dad would, you know, take me out to practice and stuff, and it was a little more serious than I wanted to be about it, because I was just going to have fun. I didn't care how good I was, but he wanted me to be good, so we would go out and practice and stuff. Whatever, it's fine. And as the years go on, he then, like, wants me to join the, like, team at my school, and we eventually ended up joining what we call around here the AAU leagues, which are the leagues where you actually have to pay money to join, and then you only play, like, these other AAU teams where they also paid a lot of money to join, and you go to special tournaments, and, like, there was a summer of I can't remember if it was middle or high school, where basically my whole summer was playing softball. I didn't get to do anything else because I either had practice every day and then I had tournaments on the weekend, or I was practicing every day and then I would have tournaments, and the tournaments last an entire weekend because you literally go to a place and you play like 3 games a day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, until you get eliminated. And my team wasn't very good. Like, we never won. So it was just like, I was putting in all this effort. My team wasn't winning. I wasn't having fun. So it was just like, well, shit. And I had expressed to my dad at that point that, like, I wasn't really having fun. And, you know, I was like, well, do we really have to do this? And he didn't take that super well. And the way my dad expressed at this time that he was not pleased with me not wanting to play softball was to give me the silent treatment.
Yeah.
This is how my dad expressed his displeasure.
This was when you were like a teenager, right?
I was a teenager at this point. This had been a couple years that I, like, hardcore played softball, like, as much as he wanted me to.
This was, you quit in, like, high school, right?
I quit, I believe it was my sophomore year.
Yeah.
But until that point, like, I would play rec league, I would play AAU, and I would play school. And I would play spring and fall. So I was playing softball all year round, and when I wasn't playing softball, I was playing basketball for the school and on a rec league. So this was my whole life, essentially. Like, outside of school, I would be able to, like, go online and hang out with my friends and stuff. Yeah. But outside of that, all I did was play sports. That was it. And if I ever protested into, you know, I didn't want to go to practice, or I didn't want to, you know, play one of the 3 leagues that he had me in every season, then he would guilt trip me with the silent treatment.
Yeah.
And I remember finally when I was a sophomore, and I was finally just like, at that point,
maybe I gotta get all these balloons.
I had stopped playing basketball, and my dad was kind of okay with that, but I was still playing school softball, and I was still playing rec softball. And I was like, I don't want to be on the school team this year, and I don't want to play softball anymore. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm like 16, so, like, I'm old enough to fucking say if I want to play sports or not. And I remember there was a period of time after I told my dad that I wasn't going to play softball anymore, where for 2 weeks straight, he acted like I did not exist.
God.
Now, my house is pretty small, and my room is at the end of the hallway, and down the hallway is the living room. So when you're sitting in the living room, you can look right down the hallway and see my room. And I would feel like every time that I, like, went to go to the bathroom or go to the kitchen to get something, my dad would be out in the chair in the living room watching TV, and I felt like I had to fucking stealth out of my room to wherever I was going and stealth back in, because I could just sense that he was fucking pissed off at me and wasn't talking to me.
At least I was never guilted to the point of, like, being shunned.
Yeah, like, 2 weeks he did not talk to me. And finally, it was coming up on the end of this 2 weeks, and I was out with my mom doing something, and she was like...
Fuck.
She was telling me that I should just give up and play softball in order to make him happy.
Wow, dude.
And I was like,
very supportive.
I've spent 2 weeks.
Why don't you fucking talk to your husband and make him get over it?
I've spent 2 weeks being ignored. Like, I'm not just gonna fucking go through that and then give up and give him what he wants.
That's fucked
So I would have suffered for nothing. And I was like, no.
Just so you could go and do something you don't want. How is it? It's right here. I thought I fucking checked this shit.
Nice.
God,
Well, mission accomplished.
So we know someone in the comments is gonna be like, this fucking idiot didn't see it. Rage, 20 minutes wasted, rage. I'm sorry, god damn it. I don't know how the fuck this happened. What is that, Mario? No, it's a squid.
Yeah, it's Mario.
God damn it. Anyways, I'm very sorry for you.
But
at least we got out of that shit pretty early. Because we moved to Florida, and that got us out of baseball. But it was definitely like a... Because our mom has always been the guilter. And so, like...
Well, wait, hold on.
Okay.
I didn't get to finish the story because you freaked
okay.
out about finding the thing. So the day my mom has this conversation with me about giving in after 2 weeks of being ignored and 2 weeks of sneaking around my house like I don't fucking belong there.
God.
So 2 weeks of that, my mom says, just give in. And I'm like, no. So I get home, and that same day, my dad starts talking to me again. And I'm like,
wow.
Fuck that shit. I ain't doing this. Fuck this.
Maybe she actually talked to him.
I think eventually she did.
Yeah.
And she was like, dude, you need to stop. This is stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the story of how my dad literally acted like I didn't exist for 2 weeks because I stopped playing softball.
I remember you told me that story, like, pretty soon when we had first met. And so, like, I always assumed your dad was, like, a total dick.
That was not one of our best bonding moments. Just don't get me wrong. My dad is just... He's just himself.
Yeah.
At this point, we don't have any problems. I was kind of bitter against him for a while. I mean, I'll totally admit that.
I think you were definitely bitter on him when you met me, because I always just thought you didn't like him, you know?
I feel like I was, at the time, I felt like I was forced to waste a lot of my free time when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Because of sports that I didn't want to be playing, and my dad pressuring me to keep doing that. But, you know, whatever. It's fine. It really doesn't bother me that much anymore. And at this point, I'm an adult. And he has definitely just accepted that I'm an adult and I can make my own decisions. And, you know, he'll say his little, you know, whatever, but it's not a problem. He'll make
quips.
he'll make his little quip. But, like, and I mean, he's gotten a lot better because when I was younger, it was always, like, tattoos. He had a huge thing against tattoos. And I, from the time I had gotten, like, older...
Like, no reason why
he just thinks
tattoos.
The reason he doesn't like it is because it's a sheeple thing.
Yes.
Everybody has tattoos. So, you know, if you don't have a tattoo, then you're the cool one. You're the one who's different. And it's like, dude. So I was just like, from the time I had gotten old enough to, like, I was in college, and at that point I was like, I'm gonna get tattoos.
It's not a religious thing at all.
No,
or
it's
anything.
not.
It's just that sheeple have tattoos.
He was cool.
And so he's cool because he doesn't have them because everyone has them.
Yes, exactly.
Amazing.
And at that point,
Your
I was
dad
like...
is like a Chunibyo.
He really is. So I was just like, well, I'm gonna get tattoos, and I guess I'll just have to deal with it. And he actually hasn't given me any shit about it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
I remember you being nervous about it before you
I was very nervous. I was like, he's gonna never let me
dick.
hear the end of this.
Yeah.
But, no, he's actually... I've gotten 2 tattoos, and he hasn't said anything about either of them. And one of them is much more obvious than the other, so, you know, he's gotten better.
Yep.
You know, things... You grow up, you become an adult, and you kind of get to step back and realize why your parents did certain things that seemed really shitty to you when you were younger. And you're like, oh... Well, you were trying.
Ah, fuck. Yeah.
So, you know, you get some perspective.
Definitely, life perspective is
yeah,
good. Like I was talking about in the last thing, where it was like, my dad was like fucking 23 when he got married. Like, that's insane. Or 24 or something. And then it's like, oh my god. It's fucking ridiculous.
That's, yeah. That's how old you are now.
Oh, man. I'm trying to think of guilt stories for me. I have a fun one. Because for me, it's always, like, overblown, delusional amounts of guilt that is being perpetuated by no one but me. So, like, we did our sports thing, and for us it was always, like... Because our dad doesn't guilt us about anything, it's always our mom. And it's like, you know, because we had got the sports stuff, you know, we're obligated to keep playing. And, like, you know, because we put money into it, you gotta keep doing it. But we got out of it because we went to Florida, and then, like, when we got back to Virginia Beach and, like, shit stabled out, it was, like, clearly we're not into it. And, like, we didn't go back into it. Same thing with, like, Cub Scouts, where it was like, okay, we've started this commitment, we have to keep doing it. And then as a kid, you're not really thinking like to object to that because you're just like, this is what I'm doing.
This is what I have to do.
This is what I have to do. I am a child.
I am a child.
I feel as though I must do these things. This is what a child does.
This is what the children have to do.
You don't realize that you don't have to do something.
Yeah, well.
But fuck, that sent me so far back. This is the last level, man. It was intense. Hopefully the boss, the final boss isn't another giant level like it was in the fucking other game. That was insane. Fuck! Oh god, I got one squid.
Yeah, you got one squid.
Oh no, that was the last squid.
Oh!
Oh, I gotta start this super hard level again. Next time on Digibros.
Yeah, as I was saying, I think
we'll continue to spiel about whatever we're talking about. But we're at the end. We might as well finish. Let's take some. Oh, right, I gotta stop the episode because it's still recording.